Hello everybody, welcome back. Today, as promised, we're taking a look at A Pilot's Life version 2 by Simbit World, and this has all come about from the video I did, a preview of Fly the Line Short Haul Edition releasing soon via JustFlight, and quite a few of the comments said, well, what about A Pilot's Life version 2? I did say I'd never tried it, and today is the day I give it a go, and we'll draw some comparisons, chat about the differences, and share my experience with this alongside the video. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So welcome back to the channel. Hit like, hit subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, like the Fly the Line video, there's going to be a link down in the description below for today's video if you wanted to get your hands on Simbit World's A Pilot Life Chapter 2. Now this does already have kind of expansions and things inside of it, which I've already gone ahead and obtained, and I've registered it as well to activate that additional kind of product within the program. So this is like a PA system that should work in the background from what I've read on the manual, and it's got a number of different languages associated with it, but it should provide you a bit of a crew environment behind the flight deck door, allegedly. So if we test one, we can hear what it sounds like, what we can expect.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Vera, and I'm your chief flight attendant. On behalf of the entire crew, we would like to welcome you aboard this flight.
So you can add in custom sound files if you want, but we've got a number of different accents. We'll go with British, of course. We'll leave SD on because it's a little bit of a muffle, if you like, in the background. And when we click Tools, we get a little pop-up saying we're currently unemployed. We've been given a bank account, which shows us that we've got $5,000, and currently we are a junior first officer. Settings page allows you to kind of configure your SimBrief alias, VATSIM ID, and that kind of thing. Don't forget to save any changes that you might make, of course. And then to begin with, you have to go and buy an aircraft license, and this is already very different to Fly the Line, where you can kind of create your own profile and then fly the schedules, fly the roster. A couple of different options though, and they're all, bearing in mind we've got $5,000 to spend. We do have a good selection available, so we could get, for example, an A320 family of aircraft, which will give us the 319, 320, 321, which should do. A quick little look through here. Yeah, there you go, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20 Neo, and 21 Neo. That's pretty good. So it already unlocks a lot of options. And then you could also buy a 737 to get that in there as well. And the 737 MAX 8 and all of the NG series and the older ones are all included in that. So that's pretty good. Again, with a lot of different operators, 232 operators associated with that, 261 operators associated with the A320. A3 ATR, good old favourite, 1500. CRJs for the regional hops, 2000. You could go big pretty quick with a 777 as well if you wanted to, although I suppose that may or may not force the longer haul flights. So we're going to get set up with A320s. Happy days. And I'm going to go ahead and get 737 family unlocked as well. So purchase those. Bingo. And in the shop there's a load of different bits associated with it. So now we need to basically accept a job offer or reply to a company in order to get schedules. So for that we go into job market. Lots of different options. And already, for example here, that's a frustrating, I think, error, if I'm being really honest. British Airways and British Airways Shuttle should be combined as one. They are not two separate entities. So that's a bit frustrating, and that will limit potentially, therefore, doing the shuttle service to Manchester if you're flying with British Airways. That's a bit annoying. EasyJet though looks pretty good. Lots of different options there across the 3 operations in Europe. We'll go British Airways naturally, of course. We'll apply for that. Click to press the plus button. And if I look for TUI UK, we go ahead and press apply for that as well. So what have we got now? Down at the bottom, status pending. Just trying to force you into Bahamas Air, Corsica, Enter Air, and Transavia France. So instantly more restrictive than Fly the Line, which if I get up on the screen here and I just set up a new profile, I can just say, well, I want to work for BAW, British Airways, out of London Heathrow, rare diversions, max flight time of 2 hours, minimum 30 minutes, very frequent probability of our add-on airports being used, and there's no faffery with trying to select job offers. Kind of thing. It would just do it for you. Let's go athletic hobbyist. There we go. So look at that, straight away, bish bash bosh, accepted. Brilliant, now we're working for BA. Create schedule, schedule's ready to be created. Done. And then we get in and fly. This one is a bit more faffy. Junior First Officers rank 1 XP up to 2000. Job market auto-generated offers. They depend heavily on rank rating and purchased aircraft licenses. First, you will not receive offers from the airlines that you do not have licenses to fly aircraft for. You can jump 2 levels above your rank only if you have a rating higher than 95. If you have a rating lower than 85, you won't be offered jobs from airlines higher than your rank. Aside from automatic offers, you can decide on applying for jobs at airlines of your choosing with few limitations. You need to have the appropriate licenses and the airline must have jobs available for it. Competing with other pilots, users for a job at your favourite airline. Once the jobs are filled up, you'll receive a message saying you cannot apply at this moment at this specific airline. Once you have successfully applied to a job at an airline, you will have to wait for the application to be reviewed. This happens each weekday, Monday to Friday, at 7:20 UTC, provided that the application is 1 day old or 3 days old in the case of Mondays. The chance of being accepted to an airline you've applied to varies as well based on your pilot rank, rating, and airline ranking, with a table that's approximated in the manual that helps you basically understand whether or not you've got chance. So we've got a rating of 90. So we have, in theory, probably about a 9 to 10% chance of being accepted to British Airways, and a 33 to 42% chance of getting accepted into EasyJet that we've applied for. So personally, very early on, I find this quite frustrating because I want to get in and I want to fly what I want to fly with purpose behind it. So I feel like I'm effectively forced to choose one of these options here. I don't want to wait. I'm recording this on a Saturday. I don't want to wait till Monday to find out if I can fly for what I want to, the airline I want to apply for. Join. So we are basically forced to accepting Transavia, and they've given me this pop-up here, which I don't think you can see on your screens due to how Streamlabs works. So I'm just going to show you this. Here it is. This is the pop-up. Contract types available for Transavia France. You do not have to target. Brief free. Don't have any targets to meet. Fly as much as you want. Your contract will be ended automatically if you do not complete any flights in 3 months. Number of hours target, you have to meet targets of 5 hours per week. If you have no registered hours in 1 calendar month, your contract will be terminated. And then the number of flights target, meeting at least 10 a week. Crikey, worry-free I think. Brilliant, I'm now a pilot at Transavia France. Not that I wanted to be. Contract of employment. So now we've got the quote job. We'll go to schedule and see what we've got in this. We'll go flight length, spelt incorrectly, to short haul. And we need to deselect the aeroplanes we don't want to fly. I've only got the 737 MAX 8 in msfs 2024. But I've got the other aircraft options there, 19s, 2021s, Neos. Let's see what we get. So Paris Orly to Montpellier is a nice short one in the Neo. They're all A320 Neos, given as an option here. We can regenerate if we're not happy. We'll try random trips and regenerate. Again, A320 Neos. That's probably as good as we're going to get. So what we're going to do is set accept schedule. Accept that like so. And it wants us to do the top one, Paris Orly to Berlin Brandenburg. I think. It's going to revert to the tutorial in the manual to make sure I follow this correctly. You can print that schedule if you wanted to create a printout of it. So we'll go to flight and we'll see what's scheduled for us next. And it is Paris Orly to Berlin Brandenburg. So I don't have scenery for Orly, but I do obviously from the Fly the Line video the other day have scenery for Berlin Brandenburg. So we can't match the two programs up and force one to match the routing of the other. So if you want to check out part of the Fly the Line short haul edition review I did the other day, then I'll put a card in the video above that should appear roughly as I'm talking about this now. Check me out. And we will continue to blast around with A Pilot's Life Chapter 2. Now we don't have a Transavia livery installed for this, so we're going to use our Osprey Airways livery. And we're going to load up at Paris Orly. And then see what we've got. A whole load of storms as I record this over Europe at the moment. So we'll load in, and as we prep, you can see now we've already got active. This also requires FSUI PC7. We're going to run the SimBrief dispatch, which should effectively force us to generate routing. So we've got our route all ready to go, and our SimBrief flight plan as well we can toggle on and off here. It's a little older looking I suppose, but we'll hide that again. They've both got their own quirks. They do look somewhat similar in the UI, but at the moment, early days, I'm preferring the Fly the Line short haul edition instead. Just because it certainly feels less clunky so far, but we'll see how we get on with it throughout the journey today. I do like the idea of the PA system, we'll see how that works. So we are in the pre-flight stage. We're going to go ahead, set the aeroplane up for our route today. It shouldn't take too long in the flybywire A32NX dev version. And when we get some PAs,
Ladies and
like so,
my name is Vera, and I'm your chief flight attendant.
you'll be able to hear them in the background.
The sign is on, so if you haven't already done so, please stow your carry-on luggage underneath the seat in front of you or in an overhead bin.
That's gone straight into seatbelt signs because we've just turned them on. That should have the intelligence to ignore that first one, I think, personally, but maybe it's just me.
Read the special instructions card located by your seat. If you do not wish to perform the functions described in the event of an emergency,
please ask a flight attendant to reseat you. We remind you that this is a non-smoking flight. Smoking is prohibited on the entire aircraft, including the lavatories. Tampering with, disabling, or destroying the lavatory smoke detectors is prohibited by law.
So runway
If you
20,
have any questions about our flight today, please don't
Rannox
hesitate to
2
ask one of
Sierra.
our flight attendants. Thank you.
Insert. Berlin Brandenburg, KLF 06 right. With an ILS to finish off. So we are pretty much ready to go now, and just going to make sure I've got my charts and things ready. It's a bit of a long taxi to runway 20, but a short 2,400 meter runway. Flaps 1 though on the performance calculations. We'll see how we get on with a pilot's life running in the background. Okay, so a little early, but let's get ourselves underway. We'll see how we get on. So, park your brake off. Make sure the flight deck door is locked. Hopefully we're going to push in the right direction. We shall find out. I've got the beacon light, naughty me. Ignition mode starts. Engine 1. So just as we push, I'll have a little look at a pilot's life. Flight stages pre-flight. The map is set to auto, follow auto refresh. You can turn that off if you wish to as well. And then you can see what it's recording on the bottom right. So we've got lap longitude, ground speed, indicated airspeed, altitude, ground altitude, estimated time of departure, estimated time of arrival. Okay, GSX working as well as it usually does without a custom profile. Pretty rubbish. Really needs custom profiles for that to work very well. Most of the time, unfortunately. But we're not talking about that today. So as I record this, I still don't know what the price of Fly the Line Short Haul Edition is going to be on its release, but a Pilot's Life version 2, I can tell you, is about £25, I think it was, or €30 approximately, depending on where you're buying it from. It's available on Contrail and also Sim Market, although naturally I recommend you getting it on Contrail. Oh, she's off with a ground pin. We're running engine 2 up. So it's a flight time of about an hour and a half. It's a little bit shorter than our flight the other day. Out of Manchester, but not by much. It's a shame. This is one of the kind of things that I suppose the program, in my opinion, falls down at Pilot's Life. Is I'm forced to use this as a default airport.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and I don't want to because they're naff.
As the flight attendants demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft. When the seatbelt sign
Whereas with Fly the Line, I was able to select what airline I want to fly with. Now I know some of you want a proper career mode, so yes, you start at the bottom and you work your way up, but I think the program should have maybe a little bit of added flexibility, like Fly the Line does, in order to kind of cater for everybody, if you like.
There are several emergency exits on this aircraft. Please take a few moments now to locate your nearest exit. In some cases, your nearest exit may be behind you. If we need to evacuate the aircraft, floor-level lighting will guide you towards the exit. Doors can be opened by moving the
taxiing on
handle in
idle,
the
but
direction of
the
the
big old Leap 1As to
door is
push you
equipped
along
with an
when you're
inflatable
light.
slide which may also be detached and used as a life raft. Oxygen and the air pressure are always being monitored.
Accelerate and then scrub the speed
In
off
the
with
unlikely
brakes.
event of a
Over sensitive
decompression,
there though.
an oxygen mask will automatically appear in front of you. To start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you.
There's a whole lot of thunderstorms and things like that across Europe and the UK at the moment as I record this, so no
Although the bag does not inflate,
idea how we might get affected by it en route, but we shall find out. I think we've probably just about skirt over most of it. There's more building this evening as I record this, and there was quite a lot overnight, so we're kind of in a gap at the moment. But there is a little bit. There's been a bit of rain splashing on the windscreen, so it's about.
If you hear brace, 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 lean forward with your hands on top of your head and your elbows against your thighs. Ensure your feet are flat on the floor. A life vest is located in a pouch.
The PA system is nice, but it's very
when instructed to do
robotic.
So, open the plastic pouch and remove the vest. Slip it over your head. Pass the straps around your waist.
But it is nice to have in the background.
To inflate the vest, pull firmly on
Would
the
I
red
pay
cord
for it as an
only when
expansion?
leaving the aircraft.
Probably
If you need to
not.
refill the vest, blow into the mouthpieces. Use the whistle and light to attract attention. Also, your seat bottom cushion can be used as a flotation
Screw a
device.
bit of that speed off. We'll use
Pull
full
the
length,
cushion
line
from
up at
your
whiskey
seat. Slip your
2-1,
arms into the strap and hug the cushion to your chest.
which is right at the end, this narrow
You will
taxiway.
find this and all the other safety.
All the lights, all the signs.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
There we go. And we'll do a rolling departure. They tend to be more efficient. So we'll scrub a bit of speed off for this turn, down to about 10 knots. Right to the edge of the runway, and then we'll begin to line up. We don't need to follow the yellow lines unless we're vacating. We want to use as much of this as possible, naturally. Stick forwards. Okay, let's light the fires. Flex, SRS, nav, auto thrust screen, speed's alive, power's set. Knots. Sloppy me. B1 rotates. 2. 3 degrees a second. Keep it smooth. Get on the flight director. Positive rate. Gear up. Got TCAS, so we did that on the sly. Easily done. When you're chatting and doing a whole load of other stuff at the same time. So the benefits of a pilot's life, from what I've noticed, is a difference in just setting up the profiles. I know I've compared some of the elements so far, and overwhelmingly I'm favouring, it seems, Fly the Line short haul edition from our friends at JustFlight. However, the profile of setting up an aircraft on Fly the Line is clunky, and that is quite... it requires a bit of effort, and I'm not a massive fan of that. So I think there is an element of difference between the two, whereby I prefer the fact you could just buy a license for an aircraft and then it will track that and feed it in a Pilot's Life version 2. That is easier, but on, in comparison, flaps up, transport is disarmed. In comparison, I do think that a Pilot's Life is a little bit more clunky comparable to Fly the Line overall. But still just hand flying at the moment. Do like hand flying a lot of these. Already it's gone a bit clunky, this flybywire A32NX. Missing that first departure waypoint somewhat, but we're all good. Autopilot 1 engaged. Got the Wing FCU and EFIS fired up today. Climbing through 250 into the P-soup. Standard pressure, pull. Pushing the A350s. Forget the standby instruments. Okay, so that's good, that's good. Flaps up, auto thrust is done. Punching through the cloud. Runway turn off lights, nose lights can come off. We don't need those. But they're not synced. Look at this. I do love Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Okay, so we're just going to simulate continuing climb out as per ATC instruction. Up to a cruise of 37,000 feet. We're in a little section at the moment where you have to climb no higher than flight level 100 unless cleared by ATC, according to the charts. But we'll simulate that we've been cleared by ATC to continue climb. There's no traffic around us to conflict, and then we'll just crack on up to cruising altitude. And let's see how we're getting on. So already you can see there we've got our flight tracking fairly nicely. We're in climb, 8 minutes into block time, 4 minutes into flight. The arrival METAR seems a bit better in Berlin than it does in Paris Orly. A bit of light drizzle, but either way not bad at either end. So the manual's quite extensive with the Pilot's Life version 2, which is good because it does help you understand some of the elements of this product, like purchasing the aircraft license, like the way that the job application system or ecosystem works. I've already said before in a little bit of summary at the start, I'm really not a fan of the job application idea, but I understand that some people in the community really want that, but I think there should be an element of flexibility for those people that want it, because it's very locked down in comparison. I would want to become a second officer at British Airways, get a contract signed, and then just work away, get some license for the small aeroplanes, and then later on, once I've got enough bank, then upgrade into the bigger twin aisle jets, for example. So I think that's where Fly the Line short haul edition comes into its own a bit more, because it's a bit more flexible. You've got the 3 different modes to choose from, and you can kind of tailor your experience a little bit more with less restriction. But a Pilot's Life, in comparison, is much more restrictive, and some of you will prefer one over the other. That's fine. I'm interested to hear what you think though in your comments down below, so I do read them all. The reason why I'm doing this video is because I read your comments from the Fly the Line short haul edition video last week, and that's why we're comparing today, not in a side-by-side comparison, but a relatively similar route, starting from scratch to explore the 2 systems and then draw our comparisons based on experience. Inside the tools section of the program, with this you can randomly generate a flight. So what you can do is put in a selection, a route in, for example, Manchester to Athens, within your schedule of Transavia France, completely random, not linked to any of the schedules, and you can add that in if you want to the top of your schedule list, but it will not generate you XP or income, and it'll also not impact any of your ratings either. So that is like a mode there purely for a bit of entertainment and flight tracking purposes only. And there's a few elements in the tools section as well that allows you to follow a checklist, a selection of checklists to, quote, guarantee that you get a 100% score, but whether or not you use them, it's up to you. I don't, because I feel confident in the aeroplanes that I fly in anyway, and if not, then I'll follow my own checklists that I've developed for various aircraft as a refresher. If it goes a bit wrong, you can restart your career in this. There is a restart button inside, I think, the settings page of the program, and that basically just wipes your progress and lets you start again. And that's kind of the crux of the program. We'll see the reports page later on when we do get on the ground, and we'll draw comparisons between that, and I'll chat about what I saw in Fly the Line and the differences between both programs that effectively try to do the same thing, generate their reports, and which one might look better, which one provides more information. But we'll find out that when we do get to the end of our routing today, because this is my very first flight on a Pilot's Life version 2, in order to compare the two. One thing that is pretty cool within Simbit Worlds of Pilot's Life, though, is the kind of a community tab where you can then add each other as friends if you wish to. You can see the leaderboards of various kind of categories, so like top 500 wealth, XP, global statistics is quite impressive, showing that they've got almost 20,000 pilots on the ecosystem of a pilot's life, and currently there are 470 active being flown, and that's pretty good. Here's the tools tab that I mentioned earlier on, and you can see there all of your installed add-ons, which you can basically import from the server or make it scan your community folder. Checklists are like so as well. Effectively it downloads from flightsim.to for it to work. And then it gives you add-on recommendations with the links to the websites to show you kind of which ones might be beneficial or not for use in their ecosystem as like a recommendation. In the shop, I need to dig more into it really. But there's a variety of different things with different prices attached to it. Now I've got £0 left because I bought 2 aeroplanes, but it does give you a little bit of information there to say about $10,000 deposit in the bank as an investment. It's very low risk, low gain, gives you 1% bonus on money, stocks and shares, 10% bonus, $100,000 investment. I don't understand the purpose of this. If they're doing sort of training and situational awareness, for example, that's almost like you're unlocking a skill, but realistically they should, I think, develop some sort of e-learning package, so when you redeem that $2,500 you get a little pop-up that teaches you about situational awareness from a pilot's perspective, and what you might want to consider when you then translate that into a flight simulator environment, for example. Same with the effective communication. That appears as though you just buy it and then that's it, you're good at it. Yeah, and some of them are going to take a very, very, very long time to actually get into. I mean, for example, the stocks want $100,000. We'll find out how much money I get at the end of this flight for one sector, but it will give you an idea of how long it might take for you to actually get to somewhere from a bank balance point of view within the deeper simulation of actually getting here. Now, with Fly the Line Short Haul Edition, I mentioned in that review video that they simulate, as part of their career mode, things like inflation and how that might affect your overall wealth, assets, property value increase, how that might affect how much money something will cost to buy when you're building your little kind of Sims World style house, or improving your rest, improving your fitness, your health around the flights that you're doing within that environment. This doesn't seem to do that. It just seems to be that you buy some bonds, happy days, 3% increase on your returns for $30,000. And where it says crypto market, I always think, as a personal, ethical opinion, details risky but rewarding category investment. I think really, let's be honest, it's more akin to gambling, and I think it should really stipulate that. But I suppose each to their own. Some people will really enjoy that. That bit there isn't for me, and I think that's where Fly the Line Short Haul Edition does kind of still set itself ahead of this in comparison, because it does simulate things like the inflation rate in the background, whereas this is just a, you know, I've got enough money, $20,000, brilliant, I'm really good at aircraft management automation, jolly good, I bought it, I've unlocked it. When we do land, the reports will go in here, we should be able to read it all. And we've got an hourly salary of $31.91 an hour, so we're probably going to make about $52-ish today. And that's about it. So that will give you an idea. That's an estimation because we haven't got on the ground yet, but that will give you an idea of how long it's going to take to actually just get anywhere really with this. The achievements tab, what have we got here? So various different achievements. I think that must be linked to XP, but it doesn't make clear on this screen. So how many friends you've got, how many investment items you've purchased. Need for speed, taxi out or taxi in with a speed greater than 30 knots. Weird achievement to have if it's supposed to be following like a realistic career mode. That should be kind of penalty for speeding, really. Captain Sully Award for a smooth landing. Not quite the same as landing on the Hudson, but hey ho. Little things like that are just, it detracts from, I think, what they're trying to achieve with this program when there's little weird things like that going on. But similarly, you know, they have to build these things in to try and give you guys purpose behind each flight and, you know, increase usage of their products and their program to have more people using it on every flight. So yeah, they do have to have all of that kind of stuff in there, but some of those achievements seem quite arcadey on a platform or a program which is designed for you to fly as best as possible and follow schedules and get XP, build up your hours with careful, accurate flying and all that sort of thing. So that they kind of conflict with each other in a way. So now, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below if I'm on the right path or if you share the same thoughts. How would you improve this? And with the features that we've spoke about so far, how would you compare a Pilot's Life version 2 with Fly the Line Short Haul Edition from JustFlight? So uneventful cruise, couple of PAs announcing food service and that sort of thing. Just so you guys can see what we're going to be doing next as we do commit to our approach. I'll just show you Navigraph, and you can see here from Klaasdorf VOR 15.15 we're going to route 307 degrees up to our sort of the outbound radial of 232 degrees from Brandenburg's VOR. 19.2 DME after Klaasdorf, and then we'll work to head eastbound to establish with the ILS on a course of 064 degrees inbound to Berlin. We've configured for a flap 3 config approach, or a config 3 approach in the A320neo today, and on short final we'll pass over the VOR, so we can't be tricked by the radius of that, and we'll fly effectively last bit of the approach will be visual approach onto 06 right. Order brake low, aim to vacate Mike 7 or Mike 6. Mike 7 will be slightly more efficient because we can just roll off, head over Victor 2, entry south, or entry north, whatever it is there, Victor 2, and then into the Bravo apron to park. So that's the plan. The weather's good, 030 degrees at 6 knots, so slight crosswind, variable winds 330 to 120 degrees. Cav okay though, and a QNH 1011. So we're going to spend the next few minutes just kind of preparing ourselves for the approach. A Pilot's Life version 2, chapter 2 is still tracking the flight. It's transition to or from cruise. I think, you know, realistically I'd like to see that say descent to be a little bit more precise. Fly the Line Short Haul Edition, distinguished descent being a phase, which is just a little bit neater in my opinion, but you know, the crux of it doesn't really matter, so not really too much of an issue there. You can actually see, I've noticed, a couple of people flying around on a Pilot's Life around you as well. So all these little aeroplanes that are flying around on the map as you track your flight are Pilot's Life Chapter 2 users that are working their own flights around you, which is quite nice to see actually. It just kind of gives you a little bit of life on the map on the actual tracker, which is a nice little feature actually. I do like that a lot. But yeah, so far pretty good. There are elements of it that I quite like, are quite easy to sort of navigate around. This is a bit more restrictive than Fly the Line Short Haul Edition, and it's got a bit more heavy emphasis on the shop, buying your aircraft licenses, saving money in the bank, etc, etc. Whereas Fly the Line Short Haul Edition is a little bit less restrictive. You can set up your own aircraft profiles to fly whatever you want within the schedules. Couple of bits in the shop for building your quote-unquote house. So slightly different in what they both achieve, for they're both trying to achieve the same thing. But again, like in Fly the Line Short Haul Edition, I can't notice a single hit on performance with this either. So performance wise, it's working in the background, obviously tracking a lot of data, but doing a really smooth job of it because it's completely unnoticeable for me. Although granted, as I've said in the previous videos as well, I do have a powerful computer which does help quite a bit in fairness.
Make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened and all carry-on luggage is stowed underneath the seat in front of you or in the overhead
So that's a little bit late.
Thank you.
That should realistically have been done about 10 minutes ago. Now we're sort of 5 minutes to landing, so the cabin should be in the very late stages of preparation for the crew to give the pilots a cabin secure indication. So a couple of little differences there that having been cabin crew in the real world that I'd like to see tweaked with this, just to put a bit of polish on the PA, but I appreciate the PA is probably a little bit AI based and linked to specific events happening. But certainly the descent checks should be done a little bit earlier, because you guarantee now somebody will be trying to get up to go to the toilet in real life, and then instantly as crew you're getting stressed in the real world thinking, my goodness, I can't give cabin secure until this guy's out the toilet, he's just gone in and I know we're landing in about 4 minutes. The crew, the flight crew need to be sterile for cockpit, they need to be told the cabin is secure kind of now, realistically. Yeah, we're coming up to 6,000–7,000 feet above ground approximately. But it's nice having the PA stuff there in the background. I think there just needs to be a bit more polish and work done on the PA architecture as an add-on, as an expansion within the program, especially the fact it's cost extra money. The PA expansion was about £5, it's €7, so it's not expensive, but that doesn't mean that it shouldn't have more polish on it, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. I'm always conscious that in these videos that I don't sound overly negative or overly critical of a product. I think the core of this so far has been very good, but the differences between Fly the Line Short Haul Edition that we checked out the other day and this, a Pilot's Life version 2, are such that I so far vastly prefer Fly the Line Short Haul Edition, even without knowing the price of it when it does eventually get released, because it's easier to set up, it's easier to work with, there's less faffery when you're trying to generate your schedules and all that kind of stuff, and there's more flexibility. You don't have to apply for something and then wait 2–3 days for an application to be approved or rejected, in which case you then have to go and potentially apply for something else, and you know, wait till then the next day if you're in the week to try and get quote employed. It's just like it's a massively unnecessary faff, I think. But at the same time, I very much appreciate that some people will really, really like having that extra bit of reality within the simulation. I do understand that wholly. But for me, it's just not that sort of thing doesn't tickle me that much. If I want to fly for British Airways on a contract, you know, I want to fly for British Airways on a contract. Rightio, let's shoot the ILS, land, get parked up, and then we'll go through the report. Turn in early. Flaps 1. Approach mode's active. On the MCDU. 030 for heading. Approach mode's armed. We'll call it 1035 again, actually. Okay, lock star. 180, flaps 1. We're about 7.5 degrees nose up at the moment. So I'll just go flaps 2, get a bit more draggy, but drop that nose a little bit as well. Autopilot 2 engaged. It's climbed to 4,000 overall on the missed approach, but it's initially climb runway track to max 3,000 feet. So for that reason, we'll leave 3,000 set on the FCU in preparation for a missed approach. Glide slopes armed. Glide slopes alive. Let's go gear down. Flaps 3 or the config 3 approach means we're going to be coming in a little bit quicker today. 137 for landing speed, approach 142 with config 3.
2,500.
Check. .160 till 4. Got fixed ring in there as well, folks, on the screen there for the nav display. Lights and signs, overhead panels checked. We've confirmed flap 3 modes are active across the jets. Flight deck. Spoilers armed. 160, flap 3. Landing memos, no blue. Get downs, 3 green locked. Water brake, low and blue. To very quickly show you a pilot's life at the moment now. It's showing flight stage has gone from initial approach now to approach.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for landing.
Check.
One
Pilot off. I was going to go Lufthansa and get the order thrust off, but we won't do that today. Chasing XP. And flying as accurate as possible. But hand flying the ILS. Staring at the flight directors, cross-checking against our vision out the front of the jet as well. Make sure we're looking good. The VOR's just kind of below us somewhere on approach. We're landing inhibit mode. Nice and stable, looking pretty good.
400.
Slight crosswind.
400. 100 above. Minimum.
Continue. Looking ahead.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10, 5,
Touchdown. Just go sort of reverses, semi-idle. Manual brakes. This is where like minimum runway occupancy comes in really well. Flaps 3, config 3 for approaches like Heathrow, Berlin with the long runways. When you want to vacate off at the end, 37 knots. High speed exits, so that's acceptable. Just bringing that speed down a little bit. We're going to go ground spoilers disarmed, flaps to 0, EPU, 3 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your safety and comfort, please remain seated.
Lights
with
and
your
signs.
seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off the
Left's
fasten
clear,
seatbelt
right's
sign.
clear.
This will indicate that we have parked at the gate and that it is safe for you
Rudder
to
trim
move about.
resets.
At this time,
Let's get
you may
LS
use
and
your
flight
cellular
directors
phone
off.
if you wish. Please check around your seat for any personal
And we will
belongings you may have
arm,
brought on board
try
with you,
to
and
arm.
please use caution when opening the overhead bins, as heavy articles may have shifted around during the flight. If you require deplaning assistance, please remain in your seat until all other passengers have deplaned. One of our crew
13
members
again.
will then be pleased to assist you. On behalf
Which is
of
what we used the
myself,
other day.
Vera, and the entire crew, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip.
For our
and we are
flight
looking
tracking
forward to
on,
seeing you on board again
Fly the
soon.
Line short haul edition.
Have a nice day.
We'll just reset GPWS flap 3 as well, get rid of that. TCAS is on standby, APU's now available, happy days. Let's get that good on. And we shall park up in just a moment. Pop the VORs off. Let's get the weather systems and stuff off as well so we don't paint everybody with radar. Now bit of brakes down to 8 knots, turning in at 13. Happy days, welcome to Berlin everybody. So I'd set the wrong gate on GSX, so very quickly just refreshed that and waited for the VDGS to do a self-test, and we'll just park up to stop. Parking brake is set, APU's on and on bleed, happy days. Engine 2, engine 1. And we shall see. We'll do quick disembarkation. Beacon lights off. Seatbelt signs off. And let's have a look at a pilot's life. And so, your flight has been submitted as a pop-up that's automatically come up. It's taking me now automatically to our overall flight report page, I think. It's almost preparing actually for another flight, so we go to reports. Sorry, logbook. There we go, and we can go to details. So here's our reports, 4-hour flight. Landing details are there, 279, 123 for the G. Nice level bank, pitch is 2 degrees, no bounces. Very nice touchdown by the looks of it. Now, graphically, this just isn't as good as Fly the Line Short Haul Edition, I don't think. Landing lights, I failed there because I got sidetracked reading through the manual and looking at various different things. And then when we got to, I think, about 20,000 feet, I realised that the landing lights were still on. So I failed that, understandably. But yeah, the Fly the Line Short Haul Edition from JustFlight just produces a lot more of that data in graphical form, a nicer visual format, rather than it be like a tick box or overall score. And the difference between the two is this doesn't give you a lot of feedback focused in on how to do better for next time, whereas Pilot's Life Short Haul Edition does. So there's a bit of a difference there. But yeah, anyway, hope you've enjoyed the videos. I hope you found it very useful and informative. Do check out the one from the other day with JustFlight's Fly the Line Short Haul Edition and draw the comparisons yourself between the two, should you wish. But in the meantime, as always, hit like, hit subscribe, give us your comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Thanks for watching.